The Kiwisquashcast is an in-season pod and vodcast for New Zealand squash fans. Each episode gives an update on the squash scene from a Kiwi perspective. We cover local and international pro squash and provide updates on domestic events. In each episode, we feature interviews with persons of interest and tips for your squash game. Message if you have content that demands to be on the show. Subscribe to our social media accounts for updates. PSA have published a provisional calendar for the remainder of the season that includes World Tour Finals and World Championships in the US in July, with a $1 million prize pool thanks to the Walter family. The events in this calendar are Platinum at Blackball, Algoona and the British Open, while Manchester is silver and Mauritius is gold. So we have lots of top-line squash on offer on Squash TV over the next 4 months. The Challenger Tour 3 to 10k scene is filling up with events thanks to the so-called half-price offer. It could also be called a double points offer. India have a 20k in Chennai, which is the first full bubble international event outside of the UK and Egypt. This is good progress for the tour. Sadly, our guys didn't enter due to restrictions getting back into New Zealand. There's currently 16 PSA events in March, with 10 in April as I speak. Interestingly, a bunch of events have just sprung up in South Africa. These are domestic-only events, with the Joburg Open allowing limited cross-border participation. In New Zealand, we have the Archdelahanty Satellite at Whakatane this weekend, which we'll preview later. Next week, the Royal Oak Women's 3 and Men's Satellite, and then the Men's 3K at Morrinsville. Panmure has just been upgraded to a 5 and 3K, and there are signs that some others will follow suit. With COVID and these tour changes, planning the season has become a very dynamic exercise with constant changes to training plans. But it's a nice problem to have. Here he is, eating as usual.
Alright.
Is that the shittiest recording I've ever seen or what?
My screen.
Yeah, it's terrible.
My Wi-Fi.
Yeah, hard to know. Pretty grainy.
I'm in the garage, so I get
No, fair
2
enough.
bars on my phone.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. What I was going to say, I guess it's getting a bit cooler in the garage. Not so hot anymore.
Yep. I don't really need my fan anymore, which is good.
Yeah.
Start opening the garage and the door to like let air in because it was just too muggy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, awesome, man. Actually, so how was the day's training? You had Joelle down there, didn't you?
I didn't train today.
You didn't? Oh, man, you must be so fresh, brother.
My ankle, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually hurting, like because I rested from Tuesday to Friday last week. First hit back Saturday. Then I was just hitting it fine. Hit Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah.
Then Timber up a couple times. And then then rolled it again obviously Monday.
Yeah. So Shelley gave you the big teach and said, "Hey, don't play without support."
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is fair enough. I mean, until you know it's right, you should wear a support brace. Yeah.
We're discussing whether I should play Royal Oak or Matamata.
Yeah.
I was going to talk to you about that.
Yeah. It depends how you go this week. I was going to guilt you about needing good matches. Maybe you need some hard matches.
The issue was I have to enter because they're doing the draw Saturday. So I have to enter before.
Yeah.
But pretty much Shelley was saying that because it's part of the selection criteria. If I don't get good results in the future tournaments, then it could affect my selection.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, neither you nor I think that's particularly serious. But I mean, it's a fair point. I think what she's trying to say is you should support the tour.
But she said I can't play Matamata because I have played all the other satellites. Like I haven't missed one.
Yeah, no.
But she said you could, but my feeling was she wanted me to play Royal Oak, and it kind of makes sense because I haven't really got any results this year. So plus it's only $50 less for prize money. But it's just an issue
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Emma and the other lads will miss out on some.
Yeah, yeah, I guess it's possible. I'm not sure if it's probable. Yeah, well, you kind of need to front pretty soon, brother, because you
That's what I
flattered
was
you
thinking.
flattered to deceive, and the results haven't really stacked just yet.
So, what are your thoughts on that? Should play Roy Loke? Should I just play it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you win Fokker easy, then it's up to you. There's quite a lot of there's not that many events to go, and you probably need some good matches. Yeah, it's a coin toss. It's a coin toss, and the tricky thing is that you've got to decide by Saturday, really, Saturday morning, I guess.
Well, she said just see how my ankle was on Friday, and
Yeah,
if it's bad, then just play Matter, or don't play at all. But don't play Roy Loke if it's bad. But if it's
yeah,
fine Friday night, you enter Roy Loke.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the main thing is that you are going to play well at Morrinsville, so you just have to think about that and what's best for that. And if are you short of match play? Play Royal Oak. Do you need a light weekend to freshen up? Ankle's a bit dodgy. Play Matter. That's kind of my feeling.
Okay, I'll decide tomorrow after my match. I'll see how it goes because I think it should be alright by next weekend. As long as I don't roll it again, and if it's trapped, I won't. So.
All right, so why don't we do a draw preview? Because there's a couple of juicy matches in this draw, both men's and women's. Let's do the men's first. Have you had a decent look at it? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I've had a pretty good look at it.
Yeah.
Couple of juicy matches. Get it up on here. Big one's gonna be Wills versus Ben.
Yep.
And then the other one is Zach versus Matt. Those are the two biggies.
That's not first round though, is it?
No, that's second round.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on Ben versus Wills?
I don't know. I don't know. It depends how Wills plays, I guess. I think it's gonna be close.
Well, the last time they played, Wills won 3-love. That was the Caddy Open last year, which I was surprised by that actually. And I think in the last year prior to that, Ben had beaten Wills. And we haven't seen Wills because he didn't play Henderson and he didn't play Eden Epsom, and Auckland Open was postponed. So we don't know really where he's at. He's done some pretty late pre-season training at Taupo, but it's hard really to sort of gauge his level right now. So I think it's going to be really interesting. We're going to learn a lot from that match.
I think if Wills plays well, he should win. He played pretty well at Nat, so if he plays that level, he should be fine. I just know how Ben's playing as well.
Yeah, it's hard to know. I mean, looking at his record last year, he played 6 A1s, I think, lost to 5 of them, beat one of them. So, it just depends what work he's been doing recently, really. It's hard to go off the past, isn't it? But yeah, okay. And then what else is in that first round?
Glenn?
Yeah, my prediction is that Gabe will win that in 3, maybe 4. What do you think?
I think Gabe's going to play better than he did last weekend. We're yet to see Glenn pull out a good performance. Not a good performance, but an upset performance. He is seeded higher, but I feel like
Yeah, well,
it'd be a decent upset. He beats Gabe.
Yeah, he's seeded high because he's played PSA. Gabe hasn't. I thought Glenn played quite well at Eden Epsom. He had a pretty good performance against Elijah. Lost in 3, but 2 of them were close. He just hasn't really fired up this year from what we can see. So hopefully he'll do that tomorrow night. Mason against... Oh, it has changed here a little. They said it was Mason Aaron, but it's Mason against Iranian. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that one?
That could be juicy. Mason should win, right? Yeah. I don't think T's playing a huge amount at the moment. and he's not. Doesn't I don't know. He doesn't really seem to. I can't see him wanting to try and fire up for the upset.
Yeah, yeah.
He kind of just plays for fun. And he enjoys the sport. Whereas Mason's more pro-driven at the moment, so I feel like Mason's going to be more fired up.
Yeah, Mason's pretty organised at the moment. He's definitely looking better. So, like to see him do well on that one. And in the other matches, you've got Brett Dunstan. Mania plays Finn. Tim's Ben Adams. Good to see Ben backing up again. Joe, Matt Lucenti. And Braden plays Zach. So, Joe, Matt Lucenti. You think...
It's a big, good match, actually.
So, Matt should be too strong for Joe, but...
I think Matt will be too fast.
Yeah.
But it might be like a close 3 or close 4.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see how Joe plays. He didn't play last week, yeah. And then that leads to sort of second round matchups, potentially yourself against Finn, maybe Mason Wills, Tim's Gabe, which is obviously juicy, and Matt Zach, which again is very juicy. What's your thoughts about those potential matchups?
Matt Zach, I think, is the match of the round for that one.
So has Matt ever beaten Zach? I don't think he has he?
No, I don't think so.
Mm.
He's always struggled against Zach, eh?
Yeah, Zach hasn't been playing great the last 6 months, but he always tends to get up for matches where he's historically had an edge over a player. He wants to keep that edge on them, which, I mean, that's smart. Any sort of experienced pro is going to do that. So I think he'll definitely give a good performance against Matt.
Played well the last 2 years at Whakataino. But last year he beat CMY. 2 years ago he beat me. So this is his tournament. These are his court.
Yeah, well, that's right. I know, Evan, so maybe he wins it this week, but I guess you have other ideas about that. And then you've got maybe a semi if you make it through. If you can beat Finn, you've maybe got a semi, assuming he gets through against Ben, the winner of Ben or Wills, or maybe Mason. And then in the other half, maybe Tim's gets through against Gabe, maybe not, to play either of Zach or Matt. So, I mean, there's some good matches through there.
I'm definitely glad I'm at the top half.
Yeah, it looks a little easier. Yeah, it looks a little easier.
The less stacked. Yeah.
But having said that, I mean, paperwork doesn't necessarily mean how it's going to turn out. And if you had a look at the women's draw,
I had a brief look the other day. Has it changed?
I'm not sure, but it's definitely very interesting. I mean, we've got a lot of people coming back that haven't played for a while.
So
yeah, Caitlin's back. Who else have we got? No Lana. We've got Nadia Hubbard playing, which is cool. Haven't seen Nadia for ages. I see she played the BOP Premier League. Amanda's playing, which is really cool. Camden's playing. So, yeah, I mean, there's some real interesting names in there.
Funny seeing Amanda succeed.
Yeah, it is hard to know what her level's going to be like for singles. She's okay for doubles right now, but that'll be pretty interesting. And even like you've got Winona Joe against Nadia first round. That's going to be really interesting. That's a pretty good match. And Sophie against Camden. That's a goodie. Yeah, I mean that could be a good match.
That is a goodie. Yeah, that is a goodie.
And then sort of for second rounds, Emma, maybe Katie, Caitlin Lauren. Caitlin Lauren will be a goodie. Historically, Caitlin probably would have been expected to clean up there, but she's been out for a while. Lauren's playing well. And then the winner of Winona Nadia against Amanda, and Sophie Camden against Abby. So, yeah, I mean, there's actually all of those second round matches are really cool on the women's side. Well, it's quite good because some of these women's satellites we've really had to wait to the semis to get good matches all the way through. So it's quite good to see with this one we're going to get that in the second round. Who's your pick to win the women's overall?
The non-bandwagon. And I'm going to say, I would say Amanda, but I don't want to be a bandwagon. So I'm going to go with the underdog. I'm going to go with the underdog, Caitlin.
Okay, that's humour. What's the basis for that?
I don't know. I feel like people are going to underestimate it. And then she's going to play well. I think that there's a whole, with me playing Matt last week, it's kind of weird. Like, you kind of get a bit of nerves, which I think if Emma ends up making it through, will get against her in the semis. The kind of uncertainty nerves, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus, Emma the last 2 weeks, well, this year really has kind of been playing like me, like not great for her level. So I can definitely see her going all the way through. Obviously, most people would say Amanda would win. Only reason I'm not is just to make it interesting. I guess I've got to say Amanda because she is my doubles partner.
I mean, I was watching what is that bridal show with my wife the other day, yesterday, and sometimes you've got to say the right thing. And so the right thing for you to say is Amanda's going to win. You're picking Amanda.
Yeah.
If you had half a brain, that's what you would say, whether it's what you really think or not. Yeah,
I
I
just don't
agree.
like being, I just want to make things interesting.
Yeah, look, I think history will do a good job of making it interesting. Caitlin definitely will play without pressure for her, which is good. And you're right, Emma's just lacked a bit of spark in the last event or two. She's still got results. Of course she has. Hopefully she'll get that spark back and have a good tournament. And on the guys' side, aside from your good self, who are you picking?
If I'm not backing myself to win, um, I'll say Timwa. I can't really say Timwa. I'll say Zach. I'm gonna say Zach. Zach or
Okay.
Matt. Zach or Matt. If I'm not
Yeah.
including me.
I think teams would beat Zach if he played him in a semi, just based on recent form. Hard to know, of course. Matt teams, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'd watch that. Even on a grainy live stream, I'd probably watch that just for the score, even if I couldn't see the ball. It's pretty interesting. And then after that, we've got Royal Oak, which we haven't seen the draw, and then after that, we've got Morrinsville, and Morrinsville, you've got Elijah in the second round, assuming you get through the first round. So that's going to be a good challenge for you to sort of press the reset button. What's your thoughts about that one?
I think it's good. Um, good, good to be able to get a chance to get my revenge. I guess.
Yep.
Yes. I kind of do enjoy having quite tough matches early on, just to get into the rhythm really quick. Because a lot of times, if you get a good seeding and you have an easy draw, you kind of don't really find your game, and then you get to like the semis, or the quarters, and you're just a bit undercooked, not having decent matches. So I think second round is good to have Elijah. It's a pretty ideal draw for me.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll get a tough match, and if I do get through, then I would have had. I should be. Well, I will be if I get through playing a decent level. So, and then can make this even out the slate, make it 1-1 for the year. 1-0 is a lot better than 2-1.
I'm not going to rip into you too much about losing that match at Henderson. I'll probably find another opportunity to do that. But redemption's always a good thing. It's a nice thing in any sport, really, having that opportunity. So, yeah. I mean, if we look at it, you've got Mania first round. Elijah's got Jonathan Cheeseman. Remember playing Jonathan back in the day. Glenn versus Finn. That's a good first round match. History says Finn would beat Glenn right now, but history's made in the future, not in the past. Janesh is playing Zach. I'll go for Zach. Thames Michael Sheltonhager. I'll go for Thames. Alan Crome versus Mason. That's interesting. Alan's he's a definite battler, and he's not going to give up on that one. And I remember him a couple of years ago beating Elijah in North Islands at Hamilton was a selection tournament, and he doesn't lose easily, that's for sure. Wills Donnelly against Ben Adams. Again, Ben Adams, good on you, bro. Playing again. Ben Calvert against Joel. So we're looking at a couple of juicy second round matches. We've got you against Elijah, probably. Finn or Glenn against Zach. When is Finn not going to get drawn against Zach in a PSA? Question mark. Or Joel, for that matter. Tim's, maybe Mason, Allen. He'd be happy with that. And then what I think is the niggly match of the round would be Joel against Wills Donnelly. What's your thoughts on that one?
Based on historical events, it was quite a niggly match that all.
Yeah, no, it's a goodie because obviously Wills beat Joel at Nationals when Joel was a bit cooked physically and I could say mentally. So that's going to be very, very interesting.
Remember Zach's juicy, so can Glenn break the trend?
Yeah.
Beat Zach at Bucket Open last year.
Yeah, he did. Although I think Zach had a couple of beers beforehand, so I'm not going to read too much into that one. After that, we've got Easter, and then we're into New Zealand doubles. We've talked a little bit about that in the past, and we've got a few events coming up, which is quite good. So we've got Pam Muir's been confirmed as a 5K. Auckland Open's been rescheduled to the end of May as a 10, and there's a rumour about Northland and Howick moving to 5s maybe. So it's pretty exciting. Now, Black Ball starts this week. It'll be good to see some top squash again on the old Squash TV. Yeah.
It feels like it's been so long, since we've had a...
It's been ages, bro. So Black Ball main draw women's matches. There's actually some quite good women's matches if you follow squash at the lower level. You've got Lucy Turmel against Lisa Aiken, which should be a good match. They're both at a similar level potentially. Lisa's doing all those PSA interviews and playing pretty well at the moment. So there's some good first round matches. Juniors, Yana Shihar, pretty good junior. Be interesting to see how she matches up. So there's a few good matches in that first round. And then Joelle is drawn to play the winner of Jazz Hutton and Daniel Letourneau, which I think she'd be pretty happy about. And then she gets the winner of Yathrib Adel and Nadine Shaheen. And she's lost, I think, to Nadine recently. So that could be niggly. And then after that, it would be Hania. But that should be good fun to watch anyway.
Desmond Liston, yeah.
Yeah. Danielle's... Are you following her? She's doing a YouTube series in Egypt. It's quite interesting. And the first one was a bit sketchy, but she's got her video skills up. So the second one's pretty good. It's worth watching. It's kind of interesting. A lot of people probably would be thinking, certainly I'm also thinking about going to Egypt right now, but it's kind of interesting to get her take on things. She's training with Kareem El Fathi, and he's the dude. Joelle actually told me a story about him. He had, was it a massage or something? And he got this massive problem with his breathing. Anyway, so he's coaching now. So he's obviously not playing PSA anymore, and he's coaching Danielle. But it's a good show, and it's interesting how she has to take Ubers everywhere, and it's all very time consuming in cars and navigating the Cairo traffic. But it's actually pretty cool. So if you got time, watch that. It's definitely worth watching.
So is this like a day in the life of training in Egypt?
A little bit, yeah. She does her training sessions, shows her warm-up, shows her favourite drills, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, if someone's a young pro and they're thinking about going to Egypt, you could do a lot worse than watching it. It's pretty entertaining. The first one's real sketchy quality-wise, but the second one's 4K, decent graphics, decent editing. It's definitely worth watching. Yeah, there's a bit of humour there as well. She definitely likes her desserts, so if you like your desserts, it's probably worth watching just for that. This week I had a bit of humour because I was trying to clean up my iPhone because I was running out of space, and I had to sort of copy and move and duplicate and back up all of my screenshots and all that kind of stuff. And it was kind of humorous, just sort of looking back through the back pages of all of the sort of the things that went down back in the day at Excel, you know. And it was kind of timely to sort of mention that, because I know there was a bit of chat going down this week on social media and that kind of thing. And it was kind of humorous. there's always chat that goes on. There's always banter between players and that kind of thing. And some players front and back up the banter, and some don't. But we're sort of getting to that meaty, interesting part of the season where some of the chat has to be backed up by performances, doesn't it? Yeah. So I was going through my iPhone and I was looking through all the old pictures and that kind of thing. I don't know if you saw the. Did you see the picture I posted on Kiwisquashcast?
Of
Yeah,
the archives.
it was just a camera roll. Obviously, I pixelated a few pictures out, but it was kind of humorous. There was some just crazy shit in there of people, because we used to sort of get ripped on just about a daily basis, where people would send through stuff, whether it was Facebook or Instagram or that kind of thing. And I remember one of the ones was I posted a picture of Joel's making oat pancakes for breakfast, and there was a few dudes that were at the Hamilton Sevens absolutely lagered up, and they just absolutely ripped into the whole thing and made some unbelievable comments. And one of them went insane and started saying that he was accusing the Com Games selectors of being racist, and it was just unbelievable. Spilled his guts about who was running the squash gossip sites and all that kind of thing. It's like the whole keyboard warrior thing is just insane.
And yeah, got it a lot back in the day when Excel was up and running. But I find it funny because I feel like what's going to happen if we actually make it? What are these people going to do? Like,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's humor, isn't it?
I can just imagine them trying to all of a sudden they just kind of are just going to switch and act like it was all joke and all that sort of stuff. I feel like a lot of people would have done that to Paul Cole before he kind of made it. I feel like he would have got ripped into a lot.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just kind of think like, what are they going to do if we end up making it?
Yeah, well, that's right. Well, I mean, I remember like around that time I had these guys. I did a post about Joel and Temuai getting international contracts, and there were people mocking that and ripping into that and saying, what a joke, ranked 300 in the world, getting an international contract. But now that sort of Thames is ranked 4 in New Zealand, probably going to get picked for New Zealand pretty soon. And Joel just made a semi of a 5K, a final, sorry, of a 5K. He's playing pretty well. It kind of puts it into context. And, I got the old, they ripped into me, said I was a shit leader and you guys were great guys, but, it was all, I was a shit leader and I was leading you down the wrong path and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of weird. It's interesting how, these guys that are amateur guys expect you guys to win and be pros, but not to behave like pros. They want you to behave like them.
Definitely hard balance from what they expect and and how realistic it actually is.
And I think it's definitely true in all sports. I mean, there's a lot of examples of, I think females probably talk about it more, which is fair enough. And there's been a lot of examples in the UK, for example, of top female sportsmen complaining of being sort of harassed on social media and mocked and ripped. It's pretty tough out there. I mean, social media has definitely made being a pro sportsman a lot harder than it was back in the day. And back in the day, everyone had their own view. They kept it to themselves. Now they post it and, they have a couple of beers and they double down and just go hardcore. Just moving on from that, I mean, just looking through the posts, and then I remember the old, we had the shithouse post from the Mighty Oak. That was a bit of humour. There's been a lot of stuff going on in that regard. You had a pretty hard time from your previous sponsor charging you $400 a month just to be sponsored when you're winning PSA satellites. It's kind of tough being a young pro right now.
Yeah, it is difficult. I think, especially in New Zealand, because there's not really that many people that can give like actually useful advice. So most of the time, it's just them ripping you or trying to tell you something or trying to tell you how to do things. I think that's the issue in New Zealand. I guess overseas, when you have more people that are actually better, it could be worse. with the whole advice thing. You get a lot of old people that were really good back in their day and giving advice to like young pros nowadays. But I think it's like tour's changed so much. A lot of stuff is kind of outdated now. So a lot of people who try to give advice who used to maybe do well on the circuit, some of it's like a little bit outdated, I find. So well, it's good to listen to a lot of people, but you just kind of got to have selective hearing almost, where you just take in what you think you could actually help you learn, and then still listen to the other stuff, but just kind of brush it aside.
Yeah, I think it's part of being a professional athlete now that if you interact with the public, which you should do, you're going to get people that support you, you're going to get people that rip into you, you're going to get people that give you advice when they have no idea of the context. The one I always find really funny is the people that tell James Willstrop that he should eat meat. I mean, stuff like that. Oh, James, you'd play better if you ate meat. It's kind of insane, really. But I mean, and you guys get that to a lesser extent, obviously. And
it comes with it, does it?
Yeah, unfortunately, it comes with the territory. It'd be nice to be able to press the mute button when you're talking to these dudes, but unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way. And I was just looking through some of the other crazy stuff. I've got the one here with the mother that accused Joel of being a coke addict, which is just completely insane. And I just wonder if her son's playing anymore. And then, of course, we had the
There's another discussion though, is the parents.
Yeah,
overprotective parents. That's completely different.
We had the other dad that wanted to break Joel's legs. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama.
Is it just me that thinks that?
I feel like it's died down a bit now, so.
Yeah, no, obviously we've backed off from a lot of that stuff, so we kind of stay out of that territory and that insanity, the helicopter parents and the lawnmower parents, whatever you want to call them. We're sort of out of that right now, but it's kind of just crazy to think that those kind of things went down. But sadly, it's all part of being an athlete. Yeah.
You just gotta kind of go along with it. You learn a few things along the way. You learn to just listen. Don't argue. There's no point.
You're pretty good at it, bro. I have to say. I'm probably not so much. Yeah.